Hello and welcome to a new world. Now, although I really liked my previous world before it was destroyed, it did have a few problems. The main problem was I spent absolute ages trying to find biomes. I can't do that anymore. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have a job and I go to school. If I spend all my time looking for biomes, I'm going to be so worn out. I will never play Minecraft again. So I will be using some sort of mechanism to find biomes if I need to. I won't always use them, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time, just in case that's not really your thing. It's my thing, and I'm going to do it. Because I just can't be bothered to spend 4 hours looking for a desert again. But, I will say, we may not have to look far for a place to set our base. I know it doesn't look very much now, but this spawn is actually rather impressive. And it makes up for everything I've lost, I think. And that's because I spawned in a village. I'm actually really excited about this spawn. I did have like a 5-second gander around when I made the file, but I was actually so shocked when I made the file because I didn't go seed searching. This is genuinely, I just spawned here. And I'm actually elated about it. Cause it's like, sort of similar to the last one, but it's different enough that I can create a different vibe. I can still do some of the things I wanted to do. Not entirely sure if the theme park would really fit in. I don't know, but a sort of fishing village would still work because of all the water nearby. And I'm actually really interested in continuing that. But my home, I don't think I could just copy and paste my original home, even though I really liked that house. Spent a while trying to design it, and I don't know if I'll have the time to design houses. I don't know, it's kind of just, it's all up in the air right now. But I was thinking for the enchanting room, I might actually take... Is that a bee? Is there a beehive nearby? That's actually exciting. Oh my gosh. But for my enchanting table, I was thinking I would take one of the Buildtober themes. The witch theme. And actually create some sort of tall, spindly tower. I don't know if the top will actually be a witch hat, or just like something reminiscent of a witch hat. But I was thinking I'd put that up here. Well, I did say I took a small little look around. This is about as far as I went. I came up here because I was testing out shaders. So I did glance around, but I haven't actually searched through the village or anything. I had shaders on up until like 5 seconds before starting the video. I do think shaders are cool, and I was really interested in trying them. But I feel like the natural Minecraft vibe is pretty good. And I don't really want to add too much onto it, especially because this world is going to take on the purpose of the initial world. And by that I mean I'm going to be trying to do things I haven't done before. That was the purpose of the initial world, and that will be the purpose of this world. Because frankly I didn't get very far in the first world. There's another portal right over there. This is actually a fantastic spawn. It may not be a spawn someone might try to speedrun Minecraft in or anything like that, but apparently there are bees over there. I spawned in a village that I can end up transforming like I always dreamed of as a little 6-year-old. And then there's another portal right over there. So I can turn that into something cool instead of making something from scratch. Even though I did quite like the nether portal I had created. I think you guys got to see that at the end. I'm gonna die. Night is setting and I haven't done anything except talk. I can steal this house though, but I think this is gonna go great. About as great as it initially did, which is great enough. I think for the moment though, I'm going to stop recording and gather resources. I'd record it, but it's really just going to be me either in a cave or strip mining. Going for iron mostly. I might not even attempt to get diamonds unless I'm in a cave, so there really isn't much to miss. And I will see you back when I'm building my house. Hopefully not in the middle of the night like it's about to be. Alright, I've done some mining and I've settled into a little village home. Now, I did raid the village, which I forgot to do before I stopped filming. And this is what I got. And this is what I got in the mines. I know I said I wasn't going for diamonds, but I ended up in a really deep hole trying to search for iron. To be completely honest, there was a point where I feared I would have more diamonds than iron, and it was getting concerning. But I did run into a lot of iron eventually. I got a lot of copper. Not actually that much, but a lot of copper. I was considering building something with copper, like copper blocks. I can figure out how to build things with a little bit of copper, like the bars and stuff that we have now. But I don't know if I'll be able to build anything with the blocks. I feel like it would look really neat, especially in a fishing village. But the theme I want to go for this time is mangrove and dark oak. I feel like mangrove gives a lot fish vibes. And then dark oak just looks well with mangrove. And then I can imagine just looking out a little window and seeing the whole fishing village made of dark oak and mangrove, and it would look really nice. While I was mining, as you've noticed in here, there's a lot of string. I found a mine shaft. There is not a single chest in that mine shaft, which was a little upsetting. It was a massive mine shaft, and there's not a single chest. In that mine shaft I found... Oh, it's not in here. I left the moss in my strip mine. But I found a lush cave. So that will be nice for making beautiful places. There's gonna be a lot of terraforming, and that's what I am here to explain. Actually, before we go outside, I must admit, I did some very, very important resource gathering. Now, you're probably wondering what could possibly be the most important resource gathering in Minecraft. Well, let me reveal to you, love. Love is the most important resource gathering in Minecraft. Now what do I mean by that? Well, you might have been hearing them through the walls. I mean this. Look at them. I haven't named any of them, and I haven't given them any colors. I was trying to ignore them. I saw this one, and I was like, I'm just gonna ignore it. I'll get the cats on camera. We'll do a little cat hunting adventure. And then I saw this cat, and I was like, aren't the black cats rarer? They usually only spawn in witch huts. Or is that a particularly black cat, and I don't know the difference? So I got this cat. And then I was like, if I'm gonna get this cat, I might as well get this cat. And then after I got this cat, I turned around and there was this cat. Like, oh, what? Oh my gosh. And so I got the cats. Unfortunately, you don't get to see me get the cats. You also didn't get to see me in the mines or in the lush caves. I didn't grab much from the lush caves. I just grabbed a few pieces of moss because it was in my way. And there, down there is my strip mine. You can see by the torch. In there, I just have a chest somewhere that just holds a bunch of stuff. Like dirt. I'm going to need a ton of dirt in order to terraform. I actually started collecting the dirt that you run into sometimes when you're mining. And then I left it all in there because I was like, what's more important? The dirt or the iron and copper ore? And I decided on the copper ore. So I'm gonna eventually have to go back in there. Actually, probably really soon because I need to do a lot of terraforming. I actually think the first thing I need to do is terraforming. The first thing I did on the other one was build my starter base. But as I'm kind of basing in this little hut for the moment, I think the first course of action is to do terraforming and then build stairs. In order to build the stairs up, I am going to need to do a mangrove biome hunt. And I might use some outside resources for that. I might use, because I have cheats on, I always do, they sometimes come in handy, and so I just don't turn them off. I do have keep inventory off, and I'm surprised I haven't died. I thought I was gonna die in the mines. But I have keep inventory off, so if I die, I will have to hunt down my stuff. I decided it adds a bit of excitement to the whole thing. So I do think a little too much outside resources can boggle down the game in a way that just makes it kind of, you know? Like if it's a more casual type of thing, where I'm playing with a bunch of people, I might do keep inventory on. But since this is alone, it has a little bit of excitement that you don't get from being friendless. I will likely either use the locating thing on the cheats menu, which is like a locate biome. I will either use that, or I know there's a website where you can put in your seed and then it gives you stuff. The problem with that is I don't want to accidentally see other things that I can find in-game. Like the trial chamber, I believe you can get a map from a villager, and I have villagers, so I might endeavor to do that. I don't want to see the end portal, because you get ender pearls and you'll figure that out yourself. I think you can also find the ocean monument through the villagers. So I really don't want to see any of those things. The only thing I want to see is where the biomes are. That way I can collect wood. The reason for that is just time constraints. And I don't want to become disheartened about playing because I can't find a biome that I need. It is sometimes fun to see like nice looking places, which is why I'm not going to teleport anywhere. I'm not going to use any cheats like that. I'm definitely not going to bring anything out from creative, because that's excessive, and that's going to make everything not fun. I will do my own mining. I will do my own resource gathering. I will build everything in survival. But mainly what I have it for is to locate biomes. Because I will not be able to spend so much time looking for biomes. Unfortunately, I wish I had the time to just run around for 4 hours looking for biomes, because it is nice to see the scenery. My main concern now is to get dirt and to find a mangrove and dark oak biome. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do the stairs up. I think I need to do the terraforming first in order to figure that out. The only problem with doing the terraforming first is I still have to climb the mountain to get back up here every day. I do think once I start building my own house, I'm gonna build something here. And it might be one of those houses that kind of sort of steep over the edge. I think that would be cool. And then I'll have the enchanting tower over there. A little bee farm somewhere around here. Maybe I'll put a bee farm with a real farm. But those are my bees. They're right there. It's the perfect spot. And the next time you see me, I will likely have a ton of wood. There probably won't be a hole in my house. I should probably get that fixed. Okay, so I've done a little terraforming. In order to do that though, I've had to dig up a lot of dirt. This is a leftover dirt, but I still have to do a lot of terraforming. Let me show you what I've done so far. Actually, first, let me show you something absolutely amazing. I got more cats, and they're all different cats. So these two were part of the originals, and this cat was part of the originals. But while I was going about the day, I got these two cats. I did a little bit of fishing. I was hoping to get a enchanted fishing rod of some sorts. Or an enchanted bow, or either, really. But I did not end up getting anything interesting at all. But as you can see now when we look down, there is no cavern. The things I haven't really done for the terraforming is when you go over this hill, there's still this large gap here. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I might make a sort of mountainous range. Alright, so if you go down here, you can get another view of my beautiful ravine coverage. But you'll also see that the mountains sort of split into like ledges. I kind of like that, and I think I want to enhance it and pull it up further. And then add details to sort of make the stone look less fat, make the dirt look less flat. I've even made some coarse dirt, because I was thinking about adding some coarse dirt, so it kind of like builds together, just to add a little bit more dimension. But I think the cliffs could look quite nice. The problem comes in with all this stone and stuff, and then this is kind of more hillish. So I'd either have to really go into the hill and build it up into a mountain, or I'd have to kind of just ignore it. I do like that little cavern. I was thinking of putting something in the cavern, so I wasn't gonna fill it up in the middle. But maybe some bridges to connect the two cliffs, and then in between the cavern there would be houses. Sort of like right in here. I think that could be neat. I'm not super confident in my abilities though. I still have high hopes. That's basically all I have to show you that I've done. I haven't done much. I just did the dirt terraforming like I mentioned. But let's head up to my house. Because what we're trying to do is hunt for a mangrove biome. I actually, when I was chasing down this cat in particular, found a dark oak biome somewhere over there. But I've suddenly decided I might want to do mangrove and spruce instead. So I've got to find a spruce biome as well. Now, I did already attempt to locate biome. I was going to do something silently. I didn't feel like talking, but then I was like, you know what? I've got some explaining to do. Because, would you look at this, okay? You see how long that's taking already? It's still not here yet. There it is. 6,319 blocks away. This only further illustrates exactly what I was saying about spending ages trying to find the biome. You know why? Because that is the nearest mangrove biome. Meaning there might be one some other way, but it's more than 6,000 blocks away. And if I chose the wrong direction, I might end up having to go way more thousands of blocks away just to find a mangrove biome. Now, that's far more chit-chat than we needed, so why don't we get this journey started? As you can see from the bookcases behind me, I've done a few things outside of filming. Unfortunately, I may have gotten a little distracted and done a bit more than I should have. So let me give you a small little tour of what I've done. Obviously you can see I've got some diamond armor, but what you can't really see is that I enchanted it. No, these enchants are not fantastic. I did it with what remaining levels I had. This is my small enchanting area because this is also where my enchanting tower is gonna be. So I figured I might as well just put it here anyways. This is a fishing rod. It is not enchanted. But if I understand correctly, yes, lore is still in here, and I need lore. Because, personally, I really like fishing. I don't know, it's something I really enjoy in Minecraft. So the next thing I'm gonna enchant once I get to 30 levels is that fishing rod. That is the plan. What's important is here. You may or may not have seen that I destroyed this area. That is so I can build up what I plan for my sort of starter home. It's going to be very small, but I really want to incorporate the copper. I feel like it could look good with the mangrove and the spruce. As you can see, I did go back and get some dark oak. I feel like the dark oak wood actually matches the spruce logs better, because the dark oak logs are a little desaturated. This is my special rod so far. It's not great, but it's got Luck of the Sea and Unbreaking, so if I can get lure on there, it'll be pretty nice. I also got this horse. And I believe my cat army has grown since we've last seen each other. But down here is my sort of sorting area. I'm not sure how I feel about these signs. Usually I wouldn't have them here, but I figured if I'm going to use this world for a long time, I might need a lot of storage. I also attempted to use copper golems, but I forgot that they only remember a certain amount of chests. And so they ended up just putting them in empty chests even though I have chests with things in them. So I killed them. I was gonna let them oxidize, but I didn't get that far. But this is how I'm organizing my chests. I thought because of the copper golems this would be good. And then I killed the copper golems, but I still think this looks nice. So I will need more dirt, a lot more dirt in the future. So this whole thing is gonna be filled with dirt. These, I have absolutely no idea how many more grass blocks I'm gonna get. But the Endermen have been causing me great grief. Because I filled in that giant hole, the little ravine down here. And they keep, because I didn't do it very deep, I did just one layer over. I did consider that the Endermen might be a bit of a nuisance, but I did not consider how much of a nuisance they would be. Because I found, like, pretty big holes in that area over there. And I actually almost died falling into one. So eventually that will happen. And it's going to be very upsetting. But I did, because it seems like that was a popular spot for the Enderman for some reason, I did end up filling in the hole a lot more. Our goal today is to build the starter house. However, I have done one more thing that I feel needs addressing. I made a bee farm. And it's turning night. But it's actually a long story, but to make it short, I was really excited about... That was almost a terrible idea. I was really excited about the bees being here. But when I actually found my way to making this farm, there ended up only being one bee left in the beehive. So I had to go find another bee anyways, and it was a little annoying. But my bee farm, my honey farm, and my wax farm, it's coming along. Now, before we get started, let me mention this. Yes. The problem with this is that it doesn't look quite right. It goes outwards more than it goes up. I think it could be fixed by putting the thing going up more. But that's not my priority right now. I will fix this later. I will renovate this later. It will look a little bit better later on. For now, I'm just gonna leave it be. So let's jump right in. Alright, and now for the not so grand reveal. Ta-da! Now obviously the copper is going to oxidize, although personally I don't think this actually looks too bad. I actually think the copper goes pretty well with the mangrove, personally. I like the color palette. But I really want this to kind of oppose the red color with a muddy green. I kind of want this to be like a haunted, kind of worn down village, but still inhabited because the people are fishing. That's why there's stuff like this on over the edges. I feel like it really makes it look like pieces might have chipped away of this sort of railing area. I forget what it's called. It's like molding, but on the outside of your house. A foundation? Like the foundation's kind of chipped away, or there's just other parts of the building that's chipped away and stuff. It's also why I wanted it to have bits like this, because it almost looks like there's knots in the wood. Like maybe whoever made this didn't quite so care about how it was made and just wanted to make a house. To have it there, maybe they needed to stay safe. But on the inside, I've used this again. I really like how it divides the place. You can still see through it, so it doesn't feel like it's taking up too much space, but it also kind of separates the area. Because I added this, I felt like this was a really nice separation as well to go into here, but I feel like they don't quite fit together because this one goes forward into the center of the block and this one goes on an edge. So I might change that a bit later. I don't know. This is the first trapdoor that's oxidizing, and I'm actually rather excited. But this is basically the bedroom, and then this is just an area. This is kind of the vibe I'm gonna go for all the villages down there. I feel like there's almost that hint of the original Minecraft village thing with this bit underneath, which I kind of wanted to go for. I kind of wanted it to be like partly in tune with the original, but also different, which is a pretty significant thing for me to note and make sure it is understood that for the most part I will not be completely tearing down these buildings, but I will be changing out blocks, possibly changing roof structures. That roof I actually quite like. I might keep that roof exactly as is. I might even change the building very little and just add different block palettes. I do plan on making the wheat field really big around it, because I feel like this is a nice spot for a wheat field because of the different layers in the earth. That tree, I plan on keeping, sort of. I might move it a little bit to somewhere around here, but I'm gonna essentially keep like a tree area. I do like the sort of tree of life type of feel it's giving, but I'm probably gonna do a custom tree of sorts rather than just a regular oak tree. With all that being said, I will likely do some more greaser scattering, as well as a few other things before we meet again, so hopefully there isn't as big of a chunk left over as I felt there probably would be here. I mainly, before I start recording in, my goals are to make sure the bee farm is full. I want every beehive to have 3 bees, at least. I think that's all they can have. If they can have more, I'm just gonna give up on that. Another thing I might do before we come back is get my enchanting rod all enchanted. My fishing rod. My fishing rod needs to be perfect. I might just AFK inside my house in order to oxidize everything as well. I feel like things should oxidize more if it's raining or something. But I don't think that's going to happen. Another thing I might be interested in doing is getting more cats. Unfortunately, I will not be able to let the opportunity of getting more cats pass me by. If I see a cat I do not have, I will be feeding it fish. I might possibly even fix the entrance to my little storage area in the meantime. But I suppose if I do anything afterward, I'll just have to show you. There's a ton of different things I could do next time, for next episode. I could start on more village houses. I'm gonna actually take a moment to go inside, actually. I've decided. That may or may not be something I deal with next episode. It depends on if I decide to start filming or whatnot. Hopefully they don't have a vendetta against my bees. This isn't great, because my village is right down there. Things have gone a bit haywire. Hopefully I'll likely have to deal with that before we meet again. Oh no, where did they go? Have I gone insane? Did they disappear? I'm a little lost. I'm gonna bring my cats inside. Everything's been a bit derailed, but I'm going to fix this situation. Do not worry. I hope to see you again.